Welcome back. Now, the world as we know it has been turned upside down by the COVID-19 pandemic. As people grapple with lockdown life, several significant changes have, of course, occurred, especially for universities. We're now moving one step closer towards a more democratized education system. Now, of course, to succeed at this, South Africa will need to tackle one of the biggest hurdles preventing equitable access for all, and thus closing the digital divide. Now, according to crowdfunding platform Feenix, universities in South Africa have quickly adapted to online and distance-phased operating models to ensure continuing learning during the lockdown. However, last year saw thousands of students struggling to continue their studies as a result of lack of resources, computers and even data. So to talk more about this, I'm joined now by Feenix CEO Leana. Mr. Beer, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. Now, I'm sure for your platform, you've been inundated with almost applicants looking for, I suppose, resources, hoping someone would assist them so that they could, and these students, so could able to, have access to education via computers, via data. Just tell me what your platform saw last year during this time with the pandemic.
Yeah, we definitely see an increase in the demand and need for everyday things, not just electronics and devices and data, although that was definitely needed by many students because of lockdown, being home and all of a sudden having to access online learning. We also just saw everyday things like food increasing, the need to feed families and students, as well as mental support. 30% of our students have said that they're struggling with mental support and they've lost that peer-to-peer connection from being on campus and close to friends and people that's going through the same thing as they are. And so there's a little bit of isolation, anxiety and stress. And then, of course, moving to a digital, more online world, what we did see is many universities had to switch. Some of the bigger, more resource universities were able to do that fairly quickly. But some of the smaller universities, it was really capital intensive and they don't always have the resources to do it. It took a little bit longer. And we really last year jumped into that opportunity and took hands with some universities to try and get some students computers, data, as well as food so that they can continue to learn online, which is, of course, what's expected during these very strange times.
Yeah, and just in terms of students specifically, was that target met, just in terms of making sure that all the needs a student needed in terms of resources were met, or did you also see some challenges? Because for a crowdfunding, platform, my understanding is that you, as a platform, give an opportunity to applicants to say what they need and also an opportunity for those with the means to provide them. So were you able to meet targets?
I think there's always more need than money or resources available. I think that's indicative of the environment and the country we live in. We were able to raise about 3.4 million specifically for computers and data, but that helped around 400 students. So we targeted or looked at postgrad or final year students to ensure those closest to graduation didn't fall out at this very critical point, but there's always more need. It's also quite expensive, the cost of education. So we've been able to raise about 40 million last year, which is a very large sum for the economic conditions that we were operating in. But that only helped about 500 students because as the cost of education is increasing every year. So we can do less with the same amount of money every year. But we were able to reach targets we didn't think we were going to be able to reach. We saw a lot of support from corporate South Africa and everyday South Africans. But there's a long way to go in terms of true equitable access for all.
All right, Ms. Leana, thank you so much for your time and talking to us.